Hi, this is Dean Walker. I'm the host of Poetry of Predicament podcast, which is a YouTube channel, and also the founder of Living Resilience, which is a website and a number of different kinds of curated content uh, meant to be transformational support and resources for people who are bravely facing human caused collapse of Earth and human systems. One way that people participate in these programs is to be clear enough, having done a couple of the standalone introductory programs, they can choose to get on a monthly subscription relationship with the program, and that gives people a chance to share their practices, to share their process as they walk this path in parallel, and this path being the most challenging conversation that humanity's ever had to face. And we have a number of different participants in this community of practice ongoing membership program that have taken up the opportunity to present some of their practices from other times in their life when they've taken on practices to build up their inner capacities and skill sets, and that we could call resilience skills: self-regulation, co-regulation, ways of processing emotions. There are a number of different kinds of vitally important personal skills that each person is bringing a number of uh, the skills and practices and ways of expanding capacity that they've found useful, in addition to the ones that they're taking on newly in this next chapter of their personal practices, including community of practice. We've got one of those participants who has recently presented some of the work that she has found valuable. It came from her uh, being exposed to another presentation from yet another participant earlier on, and getting engaged with that particular kind of work and finding it perhaps just a bit too intense for her system and for her capacity at the moment. And so she decided to share a particular alternative way of processing, way of sense making for her inner experience as she's moving through this path. And this particular methodology is called Listening for Life. And our participant named Sarah is going to be presenting today in this episode of the Poetry of Predicament podcast, and a posting for this community of practice. You're going to be able to see Sarah presenting about the work that has been most valuable for her at this particular time. This is not meant to be the definitive process that's good and valuable for everyone. That's the idea, is we're each bringing the ones that we've found valuable to share with others and see if it might be valuable for them as well. Hope you find this interesting and possibly even valuable for you. And you might find yourself curious about how to connect up with this community of practice or any of the standalone offerings of Living Resilience Deep Academy. All that contact information and ways to find out about the various programs are included in the show notes of this particular episode. So again, I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions, or if your interest is piqued for further information, I hope you'll dive right in. Let us know what we can do for you in terms of providing information and other introductory materials for you. So without further ado, our participant, Sarah, speaking about listening for life.
So this came out of me wanting to die. This came out of me having so little energy, that I couldn't get out of bed, and so much negativity that I couldn't stop it snowballing. And and having kind of, and also struggling with, what is spirituality for me? What I and it became so, it became so simple. At one point I just was so lost. And I had this sort of great sort of kind of spiritual contact, and felt this energy and felt this kind of connection with the universe, and then I lost it. And I was just devastated by losing it. It was like I just felt like totally alone and totally dead inside. And so the question was, I started to ask myself, was, well, what's the difference? What is this spiritual thing? At least what is it for me? And I was in a restaurant, and I stood up, and the answer was like, if you were dead and couldn't stand up, you wouldn't have a spirit. This thing that's like letting you be able to stand up and move through the world, that's what you need to pay attention to. That's the energy of life. If you want to know how to, if you want more of that, pay more attention. So that's the essence of the practice, is that it was really came out of like, okay, what gives me energy for living and what doesn't? And just like the, a little bit like the eye doctor test, when you go in there and they say, is this getting better or is this getting worse? Is it clearer or less clear? And so the question for me was, when I just did this activity, do I have more energy or less energy? And so that's the sort of the basis for me. And then the idea is, hey, this is where I got to. I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Problems, I felt like problems were crushing me. I'd lost my way. I had no more energy and ideas. Nothing made sense anymore. And I was effing tired of picking myself up and trying all over again. And so ideally where I'd like to go with this practice is something like like a 12-step group, except it's a 6-step group, and it's for sort of trauma survivors or people who are struggling. And the idea is, there's 6 steps because I can't handle 12. And also because, and it's also different because I can do this practice, and in 20 minutes, I can go from having no energy for living to being able to get out of bed and start facing my life. And on a really bad day, I maybe have to do the practice a couple times, and then it's 40 minutes. But hey, that's better than like 4 months of laying in bed and not getting out of it. So that's so and this is sort of the background of helping each other to reverse stressful states of mind and body that at least have made my life a living hell, and taking refuge in my shared humanity with other people, and claiming the birthright of healing and well-being, for myself, ancestors, and generations to come. So here's the basic practice. We'll come back to it, and I don't necessarily even use each of these, like, you don't necessarily even use each of these steps. I vision these steps sort of like as walking down a staircase, starting out with this from this incredibly stressed state, and each step for the first 3 steps kind of walk me down. So first I'm just accepting that stuff. I'm just accepting and acknowledging what's here. The second part is I'm accepting, I'm acknowledging how much I want to fix it, and how much that energy is still pulling me back into trying to fix the problem and engaging with the problem. And the third step, I'm just trying to get to basically a waking sleep state, a place where I can let the universe just take care of me, and me not have to be anything more than I am. And from there, I start to get a little bit of energy back. And what usually happens when I get that energy back is I start to go back up the staircase, the same one I just started, the same one I just came down. I put like tons of hours and tons of time and tons of I've done this over and over and over in my life with meditation. I walk down the staircase, put 20 or an hour into, all this effort into getting myself like feeling okay. I walk down this staircase, I feel all right. And then the moment I start to go back to the moment I start to like think, okay, did my meditation, I'm relaxed, I walk right back up that same staircase I just went down, and I'm right back where I was burning the candle at both ends. And so the other 3 steps are, somebody just pointed out to me, are to help me do a 180-degree turn. And instead of having the stressors in my life running my life. So in other words, what I'm answering to and listening for when I start out and I'm stressed out is I'm listening to my fear. And my fear is what's telling me how to use my body. My fear is what's telling me how to act in the world. My fear is what's telling me about what I need to do. And so instead of that, I get to the bottom of the staircase, I connect deeply with this being who I am, who just really wants to be rest and be taken care of and have a bit of comfort and connect in some kind of meaningful way with myself and other human beings. I mean, the needs end up being really simple. And so instead of going back up the staircase to my fears running my life, I do a 180-degree turn, and I listen to the longings of my heart. I listen to the longings of the beings inside me who are making my life possible. And I just start walking back. I walk up the stair. I listen to the energy that they want me to carry into the world. And they don't give a shit what I do in the world. They care how I do it. They care about the energy I take with me and the energy I bring. They don't care if I do my taxes. They don't care if I do. What they care about is that if I do my taxes, I do it with a quality of gentleness and love, and a quality of tenderness, and a quality of sensitivity, not a quality of like anger and rage and why the fuck is this government making me do all this stupid shit that nobody should ever have to do? How fucked up are we as a world? And so I begin to walk up that staircase, bringing into my active life the energy that actually the energy that the beings who make my life possible actually care about there being more of in the world. And so no matter what task I'm at, doesn't matter what the world is asking me to do, the beings inside of me who make my life possible are, frankly, they're happy doing almost anything as long as the energy that I'm bringing with me into doing it is all right. And then the last step is just opening to the possibility that I'm not alone, that there's beings in me that are making this possible. There's beings that came before me that made me possible. There's beings in the future who my efforts are going to make difference to. And this energy that they're longing, that I'm longing for, is energy that was longed for long before I got here, and will be longed for long after I got here. And the more of it that there is in the world, the better it's going to be for all of us. So that's sort of the listening for life in a nutshell. And I'm just going to look at this stuff that I've got after this, and there's a bunch of shit here, but I don't think you really need to know it. One other thing that it might help to think about, let me go back here, is it's really easy to if I divide my body into 2 basic systems, it becomes really easy for me to understand this practice. There's a system, this well-being system that I call the ground of my being. That's the system that makes my life possible. And it basically is about a vegetative state that happens in sleep, that happens outside of my conscious awareness, that my conscious mind doesn't have hardly any control over. And it's like all the boring life maintenance stuff that just happens, that just sort of happens on its own, and that I kind of take for granted when my life is going well. And then there's this other system that I love, and I love to engage with because it's energetic and it's exciting. It gets me speed, power, and control, and it's flashy, and it makes me do I appear competent and capable, and I'm out there doing things and accomplishing things. And the interesting thing is, the well-being system makes energy. The achievement system burns energy. The achievement system can't make its own energy. it either gets energy by digesting my body and eating me up from the inside out, or it gets energy because it decides to it's kind enough to turn off and let the well-being system turn on and make more energy. But those are the only two ways. And so if I'm in that stressful, active, I'm doing things, I'm achieving things stuff, I'm burning energy that I can't replace. That system is burning energy that it can't replace and restore on its own. The only way it gets it is if it surrenders. And if it surrenders the speed, power, and control that it has and allows my well-being system to begin to restore me. And I'm sorry if I'm boring everybody, but I used to think that that well-being system was really boring. But I want to just share with you what I've come to believe about the well-being system when I look at what it actually does. And here it's like, well, I might not look like much. I'm actually the one that allows you to function. And actually, if you like think about me, I have like basically infinite reach. Like, let's take a look at what I do. So first of all, I'm continually monitoring in minute detail at the cellular level 24/7, 365, every particle of energy, Sarah, that you breathe, every sip of water you drink, every morsel of food you eat at the minute particle level. So, and day in and day out, I'm digesting your food, I'm screening you for toxins, I'm defending you against disease, I'm repairing damaged tissues, healing your wounds. No cell in your body, Sarah, is ever more than like 6 inches away from the capillary network that I maintain, which feeds you. And basically it feeds every cell in your body and takes out their trash. And guess what else I do, Sarah? I carry the wisdom of the ages. I'm in contact with stardust from outer space. I actually know that stardust from outer space. I actually know what it means to your existence. I have conversations with it because I'm small enough to talk to stardust. I'm the water that's traveled the ocean. And by the way, Sarah, the reason that you walk, the reason that your feet are, you even walk on Earth is because we learned to carry the ocean with us. So the ocean is actually in your body. You're carrying it with you. And when you breathe, that's like the tide coming in and the tide going out. And when you eat, we're putting you in contact, and you're putting us in contact with the accumulated genetic knowledge of life on Earth since this planet began. That's what we're doing. And you know, and you know what we do that you don't do? In addition to performing brain surgery every night on you when you go to sleep, and by the way, the reason you go to sleep is because we have to take your conscious mind offline because it would fuck it up. Because guess what? Your conscious mind can only manage 4 things at once. We coordinate the actions of 37 trillion cells. So your conscious mind, you've been told that your conscious mind should be the boss of us, but your conscious mind isn't supposed to be the boss of us. Your conscious mind is supposed to be a servant. You're supposed to be listening to us and in touch with us so that we can actually guide you and use our capacity, our tremendous capacity for connection to make your world a more connected place. Because the reason that you have a body that works, your body is an intergenerational family of 37 trillion beings. It started from two parent cells, and now you're an intergenerational family of 37 trillion beings. And guess what? Unlike your human family, we get along. 37 trillion family members in your body all get along. We're masters at connection. You need to listen to us. We've got a lot of wisdom to share. But you can't demand it from us because we don't work based on demands. We work based on connection. So if you try to push us around or muscle us around or wrestle our wisdom from us, nothing's going to happen because we don't respond to that. That's the power and control system. We're not the power and control system. We're the love and belonging system. You have to join us to know us. So I'll stop there. There's a meditation, and we can go through the 6-step meditation if you want to, but I just want to stop there and get a sense of what is what it's like for folks so far.
I'm just thrilled. I'm just thrilled. I just love that you just have set this up and just made it happen and laying it out. I'm just tag on to my acknowledgement of the long piece you sent us written a couple of weeks ago. I just am so deeply impressed by how you create and what you've created and the depth at which you express and research. It's inspiring. I'm with you, and I look forward to the meditation as soon as others have their chance to say whatever they say.
Yeah, I just liked hearing it. It felt embodied, especially at the end. And I just really enjoyed feeling that mergence between a lecture, academic, intellectual, and it actually felt like it wasn't at the end, and it was embodied and experienced.
Yeah, I just have to echo what Bruce was saying, Sarah, especially at the end there, because the thought that popped into my head was I think in your terminology, your ground of being is actually what's real. And I love that you use the word conscious mind, because that's such, that's exactly the standard term in exactly the standard model and exactly wrong, in the sense that it's not conscious mind, it's unconscious mind.
Yes.
And it's the thing that thinks it's real. And in comparison to your ground of being, it's like the 27 trillion cells. If your conscious mind, or me, my conscious mind, and all my neuroses and all of that tries to say jack fucking shit, pardon my language, to my actual body, it's of no consequence. Well, actually, I can make it bad for it.
Yeah.
I can do that. But I don't actually exist. Conscious mind is a construct. It's a fabrication. It's something you were socialized to believe in and demanded to believe in because your parents believed in theirs, and they insisted that you, when you were 5, believe in yours too, even if you knew the actual truth. There was no boundary between you and the trees. And I forget the Zen thing of, I'll have to get it and bring it to you guys sometime, because it's in like 3 or 4 kind of pieces. And the final piece is, once I have examined myself and realized there's no me, then I'm at one with the 100,000 thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. You're helping me get this even more deeply. That this energy exchange that we're involved in, really the implications of that really are absolutely that there is no separate self, that myself depends on yourself, which depends on somebody else's self, which depends on, it's just and this incredible energy exchange of energy and experience.
Yes, because your body is stardust, absolutely. Because your body is part of the world. It's from the world. It can never be anything other than part of the world. And to think otherwise is nothing but confusion and lack of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, I've heard that put, that if we're all Buddhas and we're all perfect already, there's nothing to fix. There is no improvement that can be done. There's no non-improvement that can be done. There's no degradation that can be done. It can never be altered in that way. Your essential nature, you know? And it's just, I've heard it said that if you get finally up into that level of being kind of a completely realized Buddha, if you look out through your eyes and you hold up your arm, you see a luminous collection of billions of glowing particles.
Wow.
And by the way, the whole fucking world is that way.
Wow.
And nothing can harm you. Also, perhaps amazingly enough, in that state, you have nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing to improve. There's nothing to fix.
Yeah. 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 Anyone else have anything?
It was really great, Sarah. Really resonated with me and overlapped with a lot of other things that I've come across in terms of my own cosmology and spiritual experiences. And yeah, I just feel really drawn to you just in the commiseration of those observations, and appreciate you sharing what Bruce was saying, the really deep your story components of those understandings, because it really propels it forward. So yeah, I'd love to see more. It seems like you have a lot more packaged in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had the experience I just had listening to any other presentation. I got so small and so vast at the same time. It just, and it's a delight to me that could happen from a slide presentation. Like Bruce said, it was like it brought me into my kind of physical body and my cosmic body, like all at the same time. And it was a presentation. I can't wait for more. I can, and I will, and I'm just looking forward to it so much.
Thank you. Anyone, anything more sitting with anyone at this point?
Yeah, I'd wonder if you'd be willing to share all of the slides with us.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to do it immediately, but or after the call or something. I'd just love to see.
Happy to share that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So for me, the heart and soul of this is, and this is where I think I've gotten so off as a human being, is that I spent the first 55 years of my life worshiping my active capacities, thinking that they were the thing, and really they're just, and we can go into this another time, but they're just the defense that evolution gave to my life-giving capacities. My active capacities came about simply because they were going to get eaten, because they're so vulnerable and so connected, and the way that they work, the way that life happens, is through that vulnerability, and is through that rawness and that openness and that connectionness. And so the life-giving stuff is so raw and vulnerable. The stuff that actually knows how to make life, knows how to create life, knows how to perpetuate it, knows how to make life connect, is so vulnerable that when predation emerged in the evolutionary field 490 million years ago, I needed a skeleton, and I needed muscles, and I needed bones, and I needed teeth and nails and fingernails in order to not get eaten. And so so I worship that stuff because I think it makes me survive. But that's the window dressing. The real stuff is the being stuff that knows how to create the life in me and keep it going. And eventually decided that it wanted to connect not just with me, but also with you. And then created a whole new set of capacities on top of that, that foster our relationship with each other. And so you can sort of see the evolutionary history unfolding about, yeah, first of all, we learned how to connect within, then we learned how to not get eaten, and now we're learning how to connect without. Anything more from anyone?
I had this come, it was like, I remember better now. Thank you.
So we still going to do the meditation?
Let's do it. Where are we on time here? I just want to make sure we kind of.
I got 17 minutes past the hour, so
okay. Great.
Like 40 minutes.
Oh, good. Yeah, and even a little less. It can be done in less. So step one, we'll just stay here with each other if that's all right. So just step one, accept that life is difficult, sometimes overwhelming. The whole purpose of this step is just to stop where I am. I don't have to be anywhere other than where I am. And I just stop and notice I am here. And so whatever is here that's difficult or overwhelming, I don't have to run from it. I don't have to push it away. I just name it. So some ways there's a bit of it's a little I've seen some Buddhist practices almost do that, where you just say like excitement is here. And I'll start doing it and then just join in with me. Tension is here. Pressure in my cheek is here.
Shoulder tension is here.
Striving is here.
Sadness is here.
Facing approval is here.
Shallow breath is here.
Pressure to achieve is here.
Looking for excitement is here.
uneasiness is here. So step 2 is just letting myself sink down a little bit deeper. So instead, step 2 is just for now, let myself stop trying to fix it. And so what I'm just noticing here is often that whatever the energy is, whatever the things are that were kind of going on in my mind before, they're kind of pulling me back. And there's a little bit of, there's some kind of something in my body that's kind of pulling me toward them. And so I just name that like I named the initial thing. So looking back up the staircase is here. Not wanting to sit still is here. Urgency to get on with it is here. Worry about what's going on for others is here. So step 3, gently rest. Settle into the ground of my being. And here what I'm doing is just imagining, just letting myself be cared for, almost as I kind of almost imagine that I'm laying down at night after a really good day, and I'm satisfied and content with how the day went. And I get to rest. I've worked just hard enough, and I feel really good about it, and I get to rest. And I get to feel good about my body taking care of me. And so now I'm just gonna let the ground hold me up. Let the chair hold me up. Let my surroundings hold me up. Let my breath breathe itself. Let the tide come in. Let the tide go out. Let the day and night come with each pulse of my heart. Each time my heart beats, the sunshine of energy is pumping through my being. And then there's the rest of night as the energy recedes. And then another beat until everyone in my body, all of the beings that are me, from the tip of my toes to my fingertips, to my shoulders, to hairs on my head and my cheekbones, my skin, the outer reaches of me, the outer boundaries of me, all the way to the inner boundaries of me. We're just all sort of moving gently to that same tide of the same breath, tide coming in and going out. The tide comes in and it brings the beings food. Going out, it takes away the things they need to let go of. Same thing with the heartbeat. Just this drum inside of me, the drum inside of all of us, keeping track, keeping pace. All of us know what day it is. All of us know what night it is. The sun is shining and the garden inside grows. The sun recedes, the garden inside rests. The sun shines, the inner garden grows. The sun recedes, the inner garden rests. So the ocean and the sunshine, the inner light of my body and the inner ocean of my body is keeping us all in time, keeping us all in harmony in the same inner universe. And somewhere along in here, maybe I start to, one of two things kind of happens. Maybe I start to get a little bit of energy back and I start to get restless, and sometimes even a switch goes off in my brain and I start to wake up. And so as that's happening, or even before that has a chance to happen, I begin to point my attention in the direction of step 4. And in step 4, I'm going to allow the longings of my heart to emerge. And this is a very different process. This is where the beings in my body become a democracy, not a dictatorship. So instead of there being a conscious mind that decides what needs to be done and just barks orders and everybody else is supposed to follow it, we're actually going to be a collective and a collaborative. And that's going to take time. And so I'm going to wait for those longings to emerge. I'm going to allow them time to emerge. I'm going to allow them time to speak. I'm going to allow every being in me, all of the beings, time to feel the rhythm of the waves, to feel the growth that's happening in the day and the night, to feel the joy of being alive and aware of each other, to feel the joy of being together in community, experiencing each other, sharing with each other, exchanging tales, exchanging gossip, exchanging new awarenesses. And then they're going to ask, and they're going to get the question. Together, they're going to share, come together and search themselves, search the inner parts of themselves, and send and share with each other. This is what I long for most. And that wave that's carrying me, and then carrying the essence of me. It's just going to connect that longing, those longings, so that the energy of those longings are going to all come together. And they're all going to connect with each other. And they're going to rock back and forth. And they're going to rock each other back and forth. And they're going to gently rock into my awareness until I know the depths of what I deeply long for. The depth of how I long to experience life on this planet. How the beings in me long to experience the existence that they have the opportunity for as a part of me. And sometimes as that comes to mind, I say it out loud, or I begin to say the longings that come to my mind. And so I'll invite you to do that with me. Gentleness, kindness, ease,
openness,
Resonance.
Gratitude.
connection.
communion. Now I'm just going to rest and bask for a moment in the sunlight of my longings, the sunlight of the awareness that the life-giving forces in me have shared with me about what they care about most, about the quality of the life that I create on this planet. And now slowly, gently, taking that energy with me, that precious energy that was shared, taking it with me even as I begin to move. I'm just going to take this small step, just begin to climb the staircase with this precious energy. Begin to climb the staircase back to the world I live in, holding and cherishing this precious energy close to my heart, close to the core and center of me. And as I do that, I probably notice some fear and some concern, and that's all right. It's exactly what I should be noticing, because one of the things that comes to my awareness as I go deep into the core of me is how much the outside world I live in is not like the core of me. And that's okay, that's as it should be. Because what's happening is that the beings in me have just given me a message of what they want me to make real, what they want, the energy that they want there to be more of in the world that I actually live in. And so whatever I'm up against and whatever I'm facing, I can practice what is basically step 5 on this. I can own the worth of my path and my work in this world. And so carrying this energy with me up the staircase and into the world I live in, so that there's more of it in the world no matter what I'm facing. That is my worthy path, bringing more of the energy that the beings who are me and who give me life say they would like to have more of in this world. That path is oh so very worthwhile. And the work that I have to do to hold that energy and to make it real in this world, so that it even exists despite the challenges I'm facing, so that no matter what's coming at me, I can still manifest that precious energy of the life spirit that's making my life possible, that I can manifest it, that it can be visible to me, to others, that the beings within me can experience it as we're interacting and creating a life in this world. That's my worthy work in this world. That's what I was called here to do. And if anybody has a vision, sometimes I get a vision of that and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get a next step that it's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do to carry this energy forth. And if I get that, then I say it. If I don't have it, I don't. I just hold on to the energy and keep rising a little bit, preparing to bring it back to my active life. So I'm just going to give myself a little more chance to just, before I totally resurface, to just hold myself at this preparation stage, to almost hold this energy in a womb. It's like it's the baby I'm trying to give birth to with my existence. So I'm just going to hold it in this protected transition place. It was born with my longings, and now it's gaining strength as I walk up the ladder, getting prepared to enter this world.
I have an impression and a message of trusting my presence and articulation, that to speak from this place is a good thing.
Yes. So now I'm actually going to come to the surface and take that next step, that next last step up to come to the full surface, to come back to my life. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to be aware and hold in mind step 6, open to the possibility that I'm not alone. And in particular, open to the possibility that this energy that I'm giving birth to is not alone. This thing I'm trying to give birth to with my life is not alone. There are 37 trillion beings in me that voted for it to exist. They were not alone when they voted for that. This energy has been wanting to be born on this planet for a very long time. And there are people and beings on this earth who do not yet exist, who are relying and depending upon this energy being born. This is a worthwhile energy to birth in this world, to nurture and care for, and tend to until it reaches full maturity, until it's able to stand on its own and give birth to even newer energy, give birth to its own children and its own offspring, to carry our planet and our species and the beings we know, and perhaps our entire universe, to a more connected, more beautiful, more life-giving place. And you may want to sometimes hear, comes to mind, maybe I name who's with me here. The ancestors are with me. Love is with me. Kindness is with me. The trees are with me. The plants are with us. Hope is with us. Prayers of everyone who left this earth with too much suffering and still on their heart are with us. Nicole is with us. Tim is with us. Bruce is with us. Dean is with us. Michael is with us. Sarah is with us. Everyone who loves any one of us is with us. So when you're ready, I just invite you to return to the space we're sharing. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share this. It makes me whole. I don't know what it does for anyone else, but it makes me whole to share this. Welcome anyone. Share anything that's on your heart or mind at this point.
I'm feeling a sense of what I often call like combing through my system or brushing through my system. If my energy body was this huge lustrous head of hair, and when this kind of feeling is present, it means that there's been this brushing through that system and looking for where the little snags are, the little places that need to be brushed out. And so each of the segments was that sort of inviting a different stroke through that system, through that hair, finding its little tension points, its little friction points, and just gently combing or brushing through, or just going, easing up and then letting it go, and then coming back and visiting again, and just gently until it just has this ability to flow through. So what I'm left with is this feeling as if I were a head of hair and I had been brushed like this, I would have this fluid. I would just be hanging in such a lustrous way, in such a fluid way. And I wouldn't be concerned with how I'm shaped. I wouldn't be concerned with how tangled I am. I would just have this ability to be in that shape. So I have that. I've been invited to be in that shape, and I've also been invited to do that process. And so it feels I feel invited at every step, and not pushed or intended upon, or that there was some agenda. It was always an invitation, and that my system responds really well to that. So I feel very grateful for that. And energetically, that's about, as good as it gets for me when I'm in this kind of process, when I can feel at the end that kind of released state and that fluidity that has its own integrity that I don't have to think about at all. It just is. So that's what I would say right now.
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you hit one nail on the head, Sarah, in that practice. That's a very important point, and it's a little bit of a subtle one in a way. When I sit on the cushion, I don't have to breathe. My body breathes. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And if you look at it closely, you mentioned heartbeat. I like that too, because if you notice, the way we're built is you can try and be like a little kid and hold your breath. You cannot stop your heart beating consciously.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Turns out you're really not in charge of either, because again, there's no you.
Yeah.
I am having this experience of having been kind of, again, reminded or brought into remembering, and like as to what my being is for, like what my life is for, what all the parts of me are for, and all the phenomena of me are for. And the kind of, I've been brought back to the origins somehow of, and the inevitability of what emerges from that origin, and the somehow the patience of allowing it to be where it's at for now,
Mhm.
to be in what it's becoming for now, from inside of me and from inside of each of us, as you know, we did this together, and 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 being reminded that this is what is in everything and all of us,
Mm.
to be reminded about, and is the beauty of how there's this shared remembering coming into play, and this inner, like, extraordinary, almost, I'm remembering how impossible it is that so many cells could harmonize, and yet if that's possible, oh.
Yeah, if you're a sci-fi person in Hitchhiker's Guide from the Galaxy and you remember infinite impossibility drives,
Oh.
think of your body as a manifestation of an infinite impossibility drive that arranged the entirety of the cosmos to be such that you're here now. Your body here now. You come along for the ride. And being a precocious and very excitable 4 or 5-year-old, you're thrilled.
Thank you, Tim. You brought in a couple things this time, Tim, that are really helpful.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, and I'm sitting here being the thrilled little 5-year-old.
I did a session earlier today with a partner, and what came out of it was this sense of being like a baby or an embryo and playing, and that's how to connect with this, whatever it is that's so important.
Michael, you look deep in thought. Just wondering.
Thanks for checking in. Yeah, I'm doing good. The opportunity to kind of find the part of myself that's grasping for things at different moments is very helpful. There's a point, though, where I was connecting with my body and I could just tell that I'm still sick and my body just wants a nap. So not the most exciting or productive observation, but
Yeah.
that's what I plan to do afterwards. So that's all.
I resonate with that a lot of times. Like the longings, when I get to the longings of my heart, it's like that. What comes up is I just need to rest. I just need to be.
Sure. And I think I'm someone that's constantly fairly driven and analyzing and processing. So which is natural. My body kind of jumps then at the corollary, like, oh, we can like sit down and not do that for a while. Great. Hopefully I'll do that.
Yeah.
Please continue to share. I'm just going to put up a little thing on the screen for a moment, and it'll just be for 1 or 2 minutes of the last few minutes that we've got. So please continue to share and complete, and I'll just pop this up.
I'm reminded by what you just said, Michael, of some things that came back to me as Sarah was sharing the presentation. That was that was about what this is saying. That I can't remember how long ago it was, 6 or 7, 8 maybe years, that I kind of, whatever factors of life, like, put me in a position such that all I could do was rest. And and when I'd had enough rest, all I could do was go and get some food and some water and get myself back to bed. And how this process reminds me so much of that. And how it's almost like I had this deficit of rest.
Yeah.
That once I came out of the deficit, like actually came out with the energy that then kind of got to reestablish itself in me, and the presence that got to reestablish in me, and the Nicoleness or the me-ness that got to reestablish itself in me, I started to be able to move outwardly again with that and connected with that and from that, rather than from some kind of external kind of imposition of what I should be, or what I, and yeah, I like the idea that I could bring myself more, like almost back to that again, like maybe even every day as I wake in the morning, and just let myself be that brand new iteration of whatever this is, remembering that what it is what it is, and that whatever is going to happen, if it arises from there, it's, you know, just got that much less chance of compromising this other inner community of beings.
So we have 1 minute left, unless we decide to stay longer. Yeah, I'm grateful to be able to practice this more often too, to get that clear boundary delineation between my usual fear and fear response action. And oh wow, there's like a grassy field on the other side. So now that I know that line a little better intellectually, so now that my intellect can support that also.
Thank you, everybody, for just letting me share this. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, Sarah, the forget the title on the first slide for living. This is like a practice you developed?
Yeah. It's just like, how do I get out of bed practice. How do I get out of bed when I've been depressed for way too long?
Yeah, I assume you know Pema Chodron's work?
Yeah.
She'd be proud.
Yeah, she's
She would be proud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.